Hi, MSVPA. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're surviving life under quarantine. I do miss you all, and I miss teaching an actual classroom students. But what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to try to make a series of videos that I'm going to post to our MSVPA YouTube channel that you can watch, and you can watch them at your own pace. You can watch them anytime that you're available this week. And our topic is going to be world religions. So that's one of the major units of study that we have to cover this year. And we still have most of it to cover. We've talked about one of the major world religions so far, and that was Hinduism, which we did before the quarantine. And now we're going to be moving on to some others. I would recommend that you print this off. So this is kind of like a notes page that I've attached to my website. And I would print this off so that you can kind of follow along the lessons that I'm going to do this week. You can use this to take notes. And then I'll post a Kahoot at the end of the week just with a little quiz. And of course, you're welcome to use this as well. So I would recommend that before you start watching this series of videos, that you print this off, and it'll help you. So let's do some word building. That's what we're going to do today as we start our religion unit. And we're going to start with a couple words that we've already learned. We're going to do a little bit of review, and we're going to be building words like with root words, prefixes, suffixes, and so on. Okay, so let's start with this word, theo. So theo is a Greek word. It's a Greek word for God, and this is a word that we've already talked about this year, and this will be our root word, and we can add things to it. For example, here's a word that we learned earlier this year, theocracy. So the suffix krasi is to rule. So theocracy would literally mean God rules. And what that means is a country that's a theocracy is one where religious law is the same as civil law. Okay? Keeping theo as our main root word, you can put another suffix on it, logi, which is the study of. So there's an actual field of study called theology, the study of God. It's something that you can actually study in college, and it basically means you're an expert on world religions. So if I replace theo and I kind of cut off the O, thea, okay, we'll make that our root word. And then I can take another suffix, ism. So anytime you see ism, it's a belief, it's a doctrine, it's something that people, follow. So theism would mean belief in God. And something that we've already learned this year is polytheism. Okay, polytheism, so poly is the prefix and it means many. So polytheism means belief in many gods. All right, and when we kind of started out world history, a lot of the early civilizations were polytheistic societies. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. So about 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, when humans started living together in large groups, most religion was polytheistic. And it kind of makes sense because probably what they did is they looked at the world, they looked at nature, and they were awed by it. They were amazed by everything that they saw. The sun, the moon, the stars, mountains, oceans. And they must have said that nature is so incredible, so fantastic, that each part of nature is probably ruled by its own deity, its own God. And so that's what the polytheistic religions typically did. They took the universe, they took nature, and they divided it up, like the god of the sea, or the god of the sun, or the goddess of the moon, or something like that. And they also did that with a lot of powerful human activities or human emotions. So a lot of religions had a god of war, or goddess of love, or god of wisdom, or goddess of wisdom. And so that's what they did. They kind of broke the universe up into many, many parts. And some of those early civilizations that were polytheistic, we had the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, okay? And then a little bit later, we had the Greeks, the Romans, the Hindus. Now, Hinduism, of course, still survives to this day. There's somewhere around 900 million practicing Hindus in the world. Most of these other religions have kind of like, just mostly ceased to be. People have moved on to other faiths, except for Hinduism, which still survives. So, if I take away poly go back to theism, here's another prefix, and it's just a letter, right? It's just the letter A. But if you use the letter A as a prefix, it means none or without. So if I put that there, now I have atheism. And so atheism would be a belief in no God, or the belief that there is no God, or without a belief in God. And we know that somewhere around 15 to 16% of the population of the world professes a belief in no religious faith, and many of those people would be called atheists. They simply believe that there is no God, God does not exist. So that's another thing that we can build with theo, our root word. Now, about 4,000 years ago, a new belief starts to happen. And that is that, no, as fantastic as nature is, and all the many different aspects of nature, there's not one God for everything. Some people started to believe, nope, there's only one God. There's one God, God of everything. And so we're going to use this prefix, mono. Mono means one. So if we put that with the rest of our word, now we have monotheism. Monotheism literally means belief in one God. All right? Most of the large religions in the world today are monotheistic faiths. Some that you might be familiar with, Judaism. So Judaism is the faith of the Jews, and its roots go back to somewhere around 1800 BC or 1800 BCE, so it's close to about 4,000 years old. Christianity is a monotheistic faith. Obviously, Christians practice Christianity, founded obviously around the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, around 30 AD or 30 CE. And the other major monotheistic faith in the world would be Islam, the faith of the Muslims, and this is founded in around the 620s AD or ACD, so around 1400 years old. So these are the major monotheistic faiths in the world to this day. More than half of the world professes a belief in one of these three faiths, and they're all obviously believe in one God. And another thing is, not only do they believe in one God, they all attribute that God with similar abilities or similar characteristics. So here's another root word, omni. Omni means all. And so if I put the word omni in front of another root word, it gives that word certain powers. Okay, so like this. So if I take the word omni, and this is characteristics of God that all these monotheistic faiths believe, and I take a word like potent, okay? Potent means powerful. So if I put omni in front of it, I've now got the word omnipotent, all powerful. So this is a characteristic that all of these three faiths share, and they believe that God has, that God is all powerful. There is nothing that God cannot do. Okay, so one of God's omnis is omnipotent. Another one is present. Okay, present literally means present. It means everywhere. So God is omnipresent. There is nowhere that God is not. God is everywhere. God is everywhere all the time. He is omnipresent. That's a characteristic about God that these faiths all share. So if I put this word next to omni, scient, which means knowing, you get omniscient, which means all-knowing. God knows everything. There's nothing that God does not know. Everything that has ever happened and everything that is ever going to happen, past, present, and future, God knows this, and so God is omniscient. And the last one is omnibenevolent. And what that benevolent means, good. Omni is all good. God is all good. There is no evil in God. And anything that God made and God created is good. So those are God's omnis. Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and benevolent. And so these videos that I'm going to be shooting this week, We're going to mostly be focusing on these three faiths: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the three major monotheistic faiths. And the following videos will kind of delve more into the characteristics of those faiths. So until next time, until the next video, thank you very much. Have a good day.